sponsored by Discraft Disc Golf, Brodie Smith.
How's it going, everybody? We got a local C tier here in the Dallas area. This was right before I went off and played Idlewild, so a couple weeks ago. And after a not so great first round, I find myself 4 shots out of the lead, though, still on the final card. So I'll be able to kind of see what Drew, who had the hot round, I believe, in the first round, he's in the lead right now, so I can kind of see what he does and try to close the gap a little bit. But as you saw, hole 1 here is a very short par 3, definitely something that you want to pick up every single time. And I didn't get it the first round, but I did get it there, so that was good. Here in hole 2, you'll see kind of some narrow gaps. It looks wide open a little bit more than it actually is when you're on the tee. And some people will try to play the straight shot through, but it's very difficult because once you get over this hill, you can kind of see this little barrier they have built up there. So the disc tends to not want to get over that lip. So I'm going for the high hyzer here and making an adjustment. In the first round, which was earlier in the day, I went with a force, and it was just a little bit too fast and not overstable enough, and it kind of glided off because it is a little bit windy here. We're right on the lake. And so it kind of glided a little bit. So I went with more of a overstable machete this time, asking for it just to kind of get down. And it did a much better job. I didn't push it as far as I wanted to, so I left it a little bit short, but much better off than, again, in the first round. So making slight adjustments here. And just outside of circle, probably 37 feet, close to 40 maybe. And gave it a good run, but that's going to be a tap-in par. And this is, 2 rounds in one day. This was kind of my first tournament, I think, doing that. And unfortunately, I just wasn't really playing that well in the first round. And I think I kind of carried that a little bit too much over in this round. And you'll see kind of this frustration, which is the same frustration that I had at Ledgestone, at Idlewild. And happy to report that frustration is no longer currently. But here we are in hole number 3. This is pretty much, you're just playing for par. I know the drone kind of showed that over the water line, but that's just not really an option, especially with just how overgrown everything has. So I just take my Avenger SS, kind of throw it flat with a forehand, just kind of have it turn over and get up there. And this is one of the cooler greens, I would say, in the Dallas area. If you guys have never played Old Man, this is definitely a course I would definitely recommend when you come to Dallas. It's right in Lewisville, right on the water, very cool. And I'm just kind of throwing up a scuba putt there. That tree was directly in my line. I didn't really have an option, and I felt like the scuba was the safest play to just get something up there. Give it a chance to go in. I'm obviously trying to make that, but get something up there, and if it doesn't go in, I've got, an easy little tap in here. But taking my time because, every putt counts here. And that's another par. And we're moving on to hole number 4, which is going to be a pretty tricky hole as well. You can see it's a little bit uphill off the tee, but you can't really throw too high because these limbs on these trees will come in play. So you want to basically just throw it just even with the ground. And you can throw the turnover backhand route. It's not going to get far enough back to the basket. So the play here really to try to give yourself a birdie look is to have a hyzer flip up forehand and go more in that inside gap. Now, if you do miss right, you're pretty much dead on this hole. So the miss is definitely left, and you can kind of see the green is tricky once we get up here. It's just too much hyzer. I needed to throw it a little bit less hyzer to have it push. Dang, I sprinted up there to look at it. So it's not bad, but again, I'm going with a scuba here. I'm kind of looking at it to see what I want. And I end up kind of going scuba because it does fall off 10 feet or so behind this basket. So it is a scary kind of death putt. And this is back when I didn't really practice my circle 2 putting that much. And this is before also I had a step putt. Before also I had that soft kind of Anheuser putt that kind of just floats up there nose up. And so I'm relying on the scuba a lot, knowing that I can control at least the distance and, at most go 10 feet past the basket. But, if you watch my rounds in Idlewild and Ledgestone, I'm not really throwing the scuba putt that much anymore because I'm feeling more confident in my step putt, in my Anheuser nose up putt. Hole 5 is a really, really tough par 3. It's hard to birdie. You can see the overgrown, I mean, it's even more overgrown. This was drone footage from Black Kite, and it was done not at the same time. So the course does look a little bit different. But going through the middle here is very tricky. And you'll see, I don't know what angle Kelsey gives you. All right, you don't really get that great of an angle. But that tunnel is not very inviting. So I am taking the high road, going with a huge forehand up and over. Kelsey made it look like it was a lot better than it was. It didn't. The wind kind of pushed it down, and so I'm kind of in the fairway on the next hole, which made for a very, very tricky shot. And so I'm trying to line this thing up. The hole is in the middle of the screen on the right. So I'm basically trying to throw this get freaky kind of flat, almost with a little Anheuser, and then have it go straight and then finish hard to the left. And I did that pretty much as well as I could, keeping myself out of the trees and giving myself a nice little tap in. And this is a hole that I'm just basically trying to make a par. So no damage there. 1 under through 5. At this point, I think I'm 5 shots back because I believe Drew had 2 birdies at this point. So the lead has increased. Hole 6 is a par 3, 367 feet. One of my favorite holes on the course because it requires a really straight backhand off the tee. Something that you want to kind of penetrate, and then you can see this green is pretty sweet. It's built up and very hard to access off the tee. So you're really just trying to get something to fly down there, 330 feet, and then just slide up to that wood and just give yourself a putt at it. So I'm going to Undertaker here, and I just kind of press it a little bit too much right, but it is coming back and fighting out of it. And I think it just kind of got caught up a little bit with the trees. And so I lost, 10, 15 feet there, which would have made this putt a lot easier, especially because that tree right there is in my way. So I'm having to kind of do a straddle putt on this circle too, which is not one of my favorite putts. And everything about that putt looked good. I actually felt really good, just a little bit to the right. The height was good, pace was good, just a little bit to the right. And the name of the day so far on the front 9 has just been, tap in pars. And unfortunately on this course, that's not going to cut it. So need to start making some more birdies. Hole 8's a par 3, 249 feet. There isn't really that great of a line off the tee to get to the basket. All these trees are kind of spread out. So talking with people, what they really say is they kind of just try to throw a flat backhand with a overstable disc and just kind of a little bit off to the right, and just hope it doesn't hit any trees. I'm actually trying to play this flex forehand line, and it's one of those where if you throw it perfectly, you're good. And I'm just trying to slide it up there, kind of hit that tree right there, and kind of slowed it down. But I'm okay. I've got a circle 2 putt here, and definitely give myself a chance at getting back on the board. And got one to go there. So that was a big momentum putt because we're headed into the woods now on the next 3 holes, and these were my nemesis holes on the front 9, or on the first round, excuse me. So hole 9's a par 3, dogleg right, 236 feet, but it plays way longer than that. So you want to throw something kind of out here. Again, it plays more for a forehand that's going to finish right, but the backhand turnover can happen. But you can just see, again, it's a blind shot. So you're trying to just throw something out there to give it a chance to get up there. But a lot of people will hit trees and not really have an option. The big thing here is you do not want to be short right. You do not want to saw this off. I don't even remember what I threw there, but I sawed it off early. And this is where you do not want to be, because you don't really have a great option at the basket. I'm trying to just figure out some sort of line that will give me some sort of circle 1 putt. I mean, even at this point, I'm okay with a 40-footer. I'm going to have to either step out, throw a crazy kind of Anheuser putt, or It looks like I'm electing actually to go for a forehand here with the machete, and I think I'm trying to play the skip play. I'm trying to keep it low out of the tree limbs and hopefully just miss some of these tree trunks by playing this machete forehand. And it misses everything, and then I don't know how it rolled. I'm at a disbelief here of how that just rolled away from me, because I feel like I executed that perfectly. So I'm left with a little bit more of a tester putt here. Again, a course that will make you have to putt a lot of things straddle. There's so many trees around on the green and in the circle that very few times will you have a clear look at the basket. So going straddle again here and cashing in. So making par. And we'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsor, Manscaped.com. What's up, guys? I want to show you the manscaping kit that I just got. Manscaped has created the world's first all-in-one manscaping kit that makes manscaping safe and easy. I'm excited to be one of the first to receive the new Lawnmower 3.0 water-resistant body trimmer, the only body trimmer on the market made with advanced safe technology which reduces nicks and cuts when manscaping. It's got a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology and a premium 90-minute battery with a rapid charging dock powered by USB. It's cordless, water resistant, and has a built-in LED light that illuminates grooming areas for closer, more precise trimming. You will also receive these great add-ons when you buy the Perfect Package 3.0 Essential Kit by Manscaped. The package also comes with a replacement blade refill for your lawnmower trimmer delivered to your door every 3 months. Get 20% off plus free international shipping plus 2 free gifts when you use promo code BROSMITH at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Now, back to the action. Here we are on hole number 10, starting the back 9, and I'm starting to have to think to myself, man, if I want to try to win this thing, I really need to start making a move. And hole 10 is not probably the easiest hole on the course to make a move on. As you can see, it's a par 3. You got a narrow tunnel about 200 feet straight, and then it just turns so hard to the right, like a massive dogleg to the right. And you're looking to really push the right side of the fairway as much as you can and have something stand up a little bit and finish right as well. So I'm going with the Undertaker, something that I can kind of flip to flat a little bit as I throw it on a hyzer and try to just have it glide to the right. And I threw that, what I thought was really a great shot, but I just kind of threw it a little bit too hard. And so it didn't have a chance to kind of glide off to the right, and it blasted into the trees at the kind of the end of the tunnel. And as you can see, I'm left with really nothing. There's really, if you're over here, there's really not a great option to access the green. So I think I'm trying to go with a flex backhand with like a Malta or something, I believe. Just trying to get some sort of shot to where I can have a putt. And that's really, for me, these upshots, I'm just looking to try to get something to give myself a chance at a putt, and almost made it past all the trees. I think I'm just outside the circle again. This is probably right around 35 feet or so. Luckily, I have a unobstructed putt, and the putter was feeling good. The dogs are celebrating in the background. They are loving the putting, which is basically keeping me in it at this point, because off the tee I am not doing that great. And par 3 here, hole 11, 252 feet. This is a really, really good chance here at getting back on the birdie train, needing to start to make some birdies, because at this point Drew is having himself another really solid round. And, I'm running out of holes. I'm running out of holes, and the lead, I believe, is still 5 or 6 strokes at this point right now. So I've got my get freaky, going forehand, trying to push something down the tunnel and have it finish to the right. And am I happy with it? No, I'm not happy. I'm not feeling that shot. Yeah, just kind of turfed it a little bit. Probably didn't give it enough height, and left myself with another circle 2 putt. A lot of these holes, they're not very long. They're a little technical, having to hit lines. But, giving myself birdie options, that's what you're trying to do.
Oh.
And that almost stuck. Oh, man, I forgot about that. Almost made that, which would have been nice. I think Drew actually made birdie there. There's Drew right there. That's the guy that's leading the tournament. Tap in, another par. So 2 birdies, all pars through 11 holes. Definitely not what I wanted my second round to be. But here I am, hole 12, par 4, super gettable par 4. You have OB on the left with the road. It's 551 feet. You'll see people try to throw backhands underneath here. But if you have a big forehand, that really is the play. You want to throw it out over the road and have something finish right about here. And that'll give you about 250 feet or so into the basket. And the basket's kind of, it's pretty accessible with a forehand. If you get a little too freaky with it, you can get yourself into those woods on the right and find yourself, struggling to get up, make a birdie putt. But I think I'm going forehand Zeus here. And this was the old forehand form. Looking at it now, I wish I could go back in the past and tell myself, yo, your forehand is trash. Do not try to throw it at Idlewild or Ledgestone because it's not good. The form is so bad watching it here. And clearly it did not work when I went to those tight courses. But, this is when I was trying to work it and I thought it was decent, but throwing it with lots of nose up and just not being very good with it. So that was a decent shot there, but again, just watching it, it's nose up. It's something that is going to cause a lot of issues with consistency. So another straddle putt here. I didn't like the footing, so I'm going straddle. This is 20 feet, 25 feet or so.
Nice.
And boom, we're on the board. And I think at this point in the round, I decided, you know what? I don't care what ends up happening. I'm literally going for every hole. I don't care how bad I played the previous, I think 30 holes. These last 6 holes, I'm just literally trying to go nuts and do, or I guess it's 7 holes because we skipped hole 7. Hole 7 is kind of right up on the water and there's a lot of fishermen and stuff. So we skipped hole 7. We're playing a hole 16A here that you'll see in a little bit. But this is a very, very soft par 4. And I'm just cranking on it. It's just over 400 feet. And Kelsey kind of loses it a little bit. But I'll tell you right now, I boosted it. I'm feeling it right now. So this is for eagle. I think it was actually the only eagle in both rounds. I'm not sure if anyone else actually eagled this hole. So it was playing extremely soft. I think it's a really good par 3 and a really good birdie if you can get it. But, everyone's playing it as a par 4. So I think I did just catch a stroke there on Drew. And I think, it's a 4-shot lead or something like that at this point. Hole 14 is a par 3, 220 feet. Low ceiling, a little uphill, so you kind of have to work on making sure you're getting off on the right line, and you just want something to kind of go straight and finish left in between these 2 trees to give yourself a putt. And the road is OB for the next couple holes here coming up. So,
I missed it.
Okay. All right. Even Janice sometimes misses shots. It's okay though. It was a good shot. Got to about 15 feet or so. And 4 under through the last 3 holes. So I'm making a little bit of a charge here. And hole 15 is a par 3, 338 feet. This is another hole that is a really good birdie. If you can get a look at this one, it's really great because there's really only one line. And some people throw backhand rollers. I haven't really seen a good one. But the real throw here is kind of a forehand stand-up shot that's going to finish hard right at the end with a massive flare skip, and good shots will land right around here. I haven't really seen too many people even get, inside of 25 feet. So I'm going with my nuke, going with a forehand, obviously, and you can kind of see the gap I'm hitting. Low ceiling, Just going to try to throw something on hyzer that stands up just a little bit and then finishes hard right with a big flare skip. And I went inside gap. That was a 100% miss release. You do not want to be on the inside, because you can see now I have 2 walls of trees. This is the first layer right in front of me, and then there's a second layer about 20 feet or so, and I am befuddled as what to do here. And I already can tell this is not the right decision. I have a Get Freaky in my hand. It's not overstable enough, and so I'm trying to play that flex line. Now, if I would go back and throw that shot, I would throw it with the machete on that big anhyzer, and it will actually flex out. The Get Freaky didn't, put me in a bad spot, but the machete would have definitely made it to be, a lot easier to pull off than having to really try to finesse that Get Freaky. Hole 16, par 3, 406 feet. Another great low ceiling shot. That's kind of the back 9. You'll see that a lot of low ceiling shots. It's not terribly far, but most people are going to throw either a fairway driver or a driver and try to throw something probably backhand flat that's going to finish left and give yourself a look. I believe I was going with a Zeus back then, but I did play the course. I actually played this course today because we had a lot of rain in Dallas, and this is really the only course when it rains in Dallas that you can actually play. And I'm throwing a lot of different discs now that I played the course again. I'm actually going, I think I went with an Onyx today. So a little bit slower speed, something that's not going to flare skip as much as that Zeus did, because I actually threw that pretty well. It just took a massive skip over here. And again, a straddle putt. I've got some tree limbs here to deal with, but I've got to make this. I think at this point I'm a couple shots back, maybe 2 shots back from Drew. And I know that right now every single putt matters. And it just clipped that limb. I would have loved to see what would have happened if it didn't clip that limb, because that was tracking the center pole. Didn't make it happen. Gonna have a tap in par here. We have 3 holes left, 16A, 17, and 18. And pretty much I have to birdie all of them to give myself any sort of chance. So we don't have drone footage on 16A because it was a temporary hole. It's just 196 feet, short little shot. Just throw something up to the basket. I'm pretty sure almost everyone birdied this hole. There is OB left. Some people did throw the forehand route, which basically skips off the OB. But I think that hole is that definitely is probably the easiest hole in the course. So everyone birdied that. So I think at this point, Drew's got 2 shots on me with, or I think actually it's 3 shots. 3 shots with 1 to play, if I remember correctly. So I pretty much have to go birdie and hope he goes par bogey to force a playoff. And hole 17's another tough birdie. 426 feet, plays a little bit uphill, low ceiling all the way. And again, another shot that I threw differently today when I was out there. I'm going with a Zeus here, and it's just not overstable enough to actually finish hard left. I'm asking it to try to finish hard left, but I threw a force today on a little bit of an anhyzer, and the line was a lot better. This, got me pin high, but it will never get far enough to the left. It's just not overstable enough. So just outside of circle, I believe, or right on the edge of circle. And that was pretty much the tournament right there. I knew for any sort of chance I needed to make that putt. And I think I actually went back after the tournament and putted that like 20 times, because I was
right back here after this round.
Yeah, I think that's what I just said. I'm coming back here to putt that, because that's one that I definitely wanted to make. So here it is, the finishing hole out at Old Man, hole 18. It's a par 3, 250 feet. There's a little gap to the right, a little gap to the left, depending on how overstable of a disc you're going to throw. Mostly backhands, you'll see. Some people will throw over the top grenades or thumbers, but I take a little, I think I'd go with a little Raptor here. just kind of straight, soft, and just kind of let it skip. Now I did ace this hole in one of the practice rounds, and so I'm trying to channel that ace to make it somewhat interesting here at the end. And I don't know how close that was to an ace, but it definitely skipped somewhere by the basket. So this is my birdie cleanup. Drew was able to make par, win the tournament by 2, so congrats to him. What a great tournament. Thanks for everyone for putting this one together and for you guys to watch. I'll see you guys in the next one. Keep slinging them discs.